Hello everyone, I'm Saurabh and I welcome you back to the digital board series by Orchids Biosciences. This is the sixth video for the chapter Life Processes. In the previous videos, I have discussed about the first three life processes in the chapter. They are nutrition, respiration and transportation. In this video, we will discuss about the last life process in the chapter, that is excretion. In this video, we will discuss the following topics. We will start with the excretion and its definition. Then we will discuss about the excretion in human beings, in which we will see the human excretory system and the structure of nephron in detail. And finally, we will study also the excretion in plants. So let's start with excretion. We know that in our body there are various biochemical reactions happening. As a result of these biochemical reactions, there are a lot of waste material that are produced. And these waste materials have to be removed by the body. And the process of the removal of this waste material from the body is called as excretion. In single-celled organisms, the excretion is done by the process of diffusion. Like that in case of amoeba, simply by the process of diffusion from the cytoplasm, the waste is removed into the surroundings. Whereas in case of multicellular organisms, the process of excretion is not so simple like that of diffusion, whereas they have some complex organs which perform the process of excretion. Now let us first discuss the excretion in human beings. For that, let us see the human excretory system. The human excretory system is made up of kidneys. There is the right kidney and the left kidney. So for us, this may be right and this will be left. But when we see it by placing it in a human being and from that person's perspective, this will become right and this will become left. So this becomes the right kidney and this one is the left kidney. So if we see, there is a difference in the placement of the right kidney and the left kidney. The right kidney is lower than the left kidney because above the right kidney there is liver, because of which it is pushed little downwards. The left is placed little upper than the right kidney. This right and the left kidney then open into a tube which is called as the ureter, which finally opens into a muscular organ called as the urinary bladder, and finally the urine is removed through the body through the urethra. There is again here the left ureter and the right ureter, which opens into the urinary bladder, which is a muscular organ, which when filled with the urine, it comes out through the urethra. Now, what are the connections to the right and the left kidney? We know that through the arteries, the heart sends the blood to all the various parts of the body. So through the arteries, the blood will come to these kidneys. And they will go into the right and the left kidneys. So from the arteries, they go into the kidney. After the blood is filtered or purified in the kidney, the blood is brought back to the heart through the veins. And the arteries which are associated with the kidneys are called as renal artery. And the vein which is associated with the kidney is called as a renal vein. So the renal artery will bring the blood from the heart, whereas the renal vein will take the blood back to the heart after purification. So what is purified here? We know that in the process of respiration, we produce carbon dioxide as a waste, and that is purified by the lungs. Through the alveoli which is present in lungs, the exchange of the carbon dioxide and oxygen happens and carbon dioxide is released from the body. But in case of kidney, nitrogenous waste, for example, urea and uric acid. So these nitrogenous waste will be purified in our body and will be removed from the body. So let us see how this purification happens. The kidneys are made up of a large number of filtration units called as nephrons. In each kidney, there are approximately 1 million nephrons, and these nephrons are responsible for the filtration of blood and passing the urine to the bladder. Now let us study the structure of nephron. The upper end of the nephron is called as a Bowman's capsule, which continues into the tubular part of the nephron, then finally opens into a collecting duct where the urine is collected. So these are the major parts of the nephron, starting with the Bowman's capsule and ending at the collecting duct. Now let us see how the blood is purified through the nephron. We know that the heart sends the blood to the various parts of the body through the arteries, and after entering the kidney, These arteries further branch to form smaller arteries called as a arteriole. And then these arteriole enter into the Bowman's capsule. Let us see how that happens. The arteriole which enters the Bowman's capsule is called as the efferent arteriole, which then branches into smaller blood vessels, and the collection of these blood vessels is called as glomerulus. The walls of the glomerulus and the Bowman's capsule are selectively permeable, so there will be transport of the substances from the walls of glomerulus into the Bowman's capsule. These substances include ions like sodium, potassium, chlorine, glucose, amino acids, nitrogenous wastes like urea and uric acid, and water. So these substances will be transferred from the walls of the glomerulus into the walls of the Bowman's capsule. And later this glomerulus will again join to form the arteriole, and the arteriole which is leaving the Bowman's capsule is called as a efferent arteriole. So afferent arteriole brings the blood, branches into smaller blood vessels through which the transport of substances happen from the glomerulus into the Bowman's capsule, and finally the glomerulus combines to form the efferent arteriole and it leaves the Bowman's capsule. Now the efferent arteriole which is leaving the Bowman's capsule is further branching to form a network of blood vessels around the nephron, and these blood vessels will further again join to form the renal vein. In between these renal veins and the arteries, if we zoom into this part, there will be various capillaries present. And these capillaries present between the renal artery and the renal vein will reabsorb the substances from the tubes of nephron. So from the Bowman's capsule, we know that they have absorbed various substances which are mentioned here. And after they are absorbed, they go into this tube. Now from this tube, various substances like the ions, glucose, amino acid and water will be reabsorbed by the capillaries around this tubular part. So all these important substances will be reabsorbed by the capillaries and enters into the renal vein. And the waste that is left over, that is a nitrogenous waste with some amount of water, will enter into the collecting duct, which will then later enter into the ureter. From ureter it goes to the urinary bladder and finally removed from the body through the opening called as the urethra. So once the urinary bladder is filled with the urine will be passed out through the opening, that is urethra. So this is how the blood which brings the waste material will get purified by the nephron, and then from the nephron substances will be again reabsorbed by the capillaries, which will go back to the renal vein, and then the waste material from the tubular part from which the required substances are reabsorbed, it will enter into the collecting duct. So this is about the excretion in human beings through the kidneys. So what about plants? How do they get rid of their waste materials? Plants use completely different strategies for excretion than those of animals. They can get rid of the excess water through the process of transpiration. We know that in transpiration, the plants will lose the excess water in the form of vapor into the surroundings. So the excess water is lost from the plant through the process of transpiration. And the waste products may be stored in the leaves also, which fall off. Many plant waste products are also stored in the vacuoles. Vacuoles are cell organelles in the plant cells which are responsible for storing all the waste that is produced in the plant cell. Some plants secrete the waste substances into the soil around them. So this is how the plants get rid of their waste material. So now let us quickly recall what we have discussed in this video. We have started with the definition of excretion, that is the removal of metabolic waste from the body. Then we studied about the excretion in human beings, where we studied the human excretory system and its parts, which involves the kidneys, ureters, the urinary bladder, and finally the opening called as the urethra. Then in the excretory system of human beings, we studied about the filtration units which are present in them called as the nephrons. Then we also saw the structure of nephrons, which starts from the Bowman's capsule, then into the tubular part, and finally the urine is collected in the collecting duct. So that is what we have studied in the excretion in human beings. And finally, we also saw the excretion in plants and how the plants get rid of their waste material. They get rid of their waste material by storing them in the dead leaves which fall off. They store the waste materials in the vacuoles. They also lose the excess water from the plant through the process of transpiration, and some of the waste material are excreted into the soil which is present around the roots. This is how the plants get rid of the waste products which are produced by them. Now let us discuss a 5-mark question from the 2018 paper. The question was split up into 3 parts. The first part asked us to define excretion. So we can answer it. We know that excretion is the process of removal of the waste material or the removal of the metabolic waste from the body. The second part of the question asks us to name the basic filtration unit which is present in the kidney, and they are nephrons. So nephron is a basic filtration unit which is present in the kidney. This third part of the question is related to the diagram of the human excretory system. They asked us to draw the human excretory system and label the following parts. They asked us to label the parts which forms the urine, that is kidney, a long tube which collects urine from the kidney, that is ureter, and also the part which stores the urine until it passes out, that is urinary bladder. So we should draw the human excretory system and label these 3 parts. So we can draw the human excretory system, and while drawing we should clearly remember to place the left kidney above the right kidney. So now we can label the parts. These are the kidneys. We can label it as left kidney. This one as a right kidney. Then we can label the long tube which collects urine from the kidney, that is ureter. And finally, the part which stores the urine until it passes out, that is the urinary bladder. So that is all that was asked in this question. This brings us to the end of this video. So far we have discussed about the various life processes and we have come to the end of life processes. In the next video we will start the next chapter in biology, that is control and coordination. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you like this video, please hit the like button, share it with your friends and subscribe to our YouTube channel.